Hi, today I want to talk about Donald Trump and more specifically how he got elected in the last election. I've been asked over and over since people think I know a lot about politics, and I do. How did that man ever get elected? Well, I could bring out graphs and charts and statistics for you, but that's really boring and I don't think anybody wants to see that. So I'm going to tell a story. And I'm going to start the story about 4 years ago in the Democratic and Republican primaries. Now, the Democratic primary, there wasn't really a primary. The Republicans, or the Democrats, were quite happy. They had just had 8 years of their God King, Mr. Wonderful, do no wrong, Barack Obama. And they had decided, in their infinite wisdom, at least the Democratic elites, that they would nominate Hillary, that Hillary would be their queen and be the next president. The problem with this is that no one really likes Hillary. Hillary's base consists of the Democratic elite, feminists who just want a woman president, bored housewives, and Democratic drones who would vote for a coffee cup if the coffee cup had a D next to its name. So the peasants of the Democratic Party were quite unhappy that Hillary had been coronated as their nominee. And they went searching for someone who would oppose her. And they searched and they searched and they couldn't find anybody, because going against the Clinton machine at the time was basically political suicide. Finally, they found a old socialist curmudgeon from Vermont, and he said, "Yes, I shall oppose Hillary and beat her. I shall rid you of the beast." And he wasn't taken seriously at first, but it turned out that Bernie is a pretty good speaker, and he is very sincere in his beliefs, and that came across to people. And even if people didn't necessarily support all his ideas, they supported him because he was opposite of Hillary. Hillary comes across as one of the most non-sincere persons on the face of the earth. And Bernie started getting support, and the Bernie revolt began. Now, the Bernie revolt was a people's revolt. So the powers that be, thinking that the peasants are too stupid to make decisions for themselves, decided that no, Hillary is going to be the nominee because that's what's best for them. So they decided to basically rig the primaries, and they did this in two ways. The first way was they got all the superdelegates behind Hillary. Now, people that don't know what a superdelegate is. A superdelegate is a super person, basically. A person that votes any way they want to and are a delegate themselves. Instead of 300,000 people being a delegate, they are a delegate. And they are party bigwigs, former governors, big donors. And they all were behind Hillary. And the second thing they did was lower the amount of polling stations that were available to vote in. And this has two effects. The first effect of this is people that don't have transportation, who are elderly, who are disabled, are more likely to vote if a polling station is 2 blocks away than they are if it's 16 blocks away. So by reducing the amount of polling stations, they reduce the amount of votes. And it also has the effect of longer lines, longer waits. So if someone even drives to the polling station and they see that the line is 3 blocks long, the chances are they're going to go home. They're going to say, "Oh, this is not Disney World. I'm not willing to wait 3 hours to vote." And the reason that the Democrats did this was Hillary won before the day of the voting. She won the mail-in ballots by a landslide. But Bernie would win the day of by a landslide. So by suppressing the vote the day of, Hillary was able to win primaries that she might have lost. And in this way, Hillary was eventually able to overcome the Bernie revolt and win the nomination. But the Bernie bros and the Bernie supporters were not happy. They thought they had been robbed. They thought they had been cheated, and technically they probably were. But I'll get back to them. I'll get back to them in a few minutes. Now I want to go to the Republicans. Now, the Republicans were foaming at the mouth to get a Republican president. They had had 8 years of Obama, and despite what the Democrats believed, that he was the God King, the Sun King, the Mr. Everything, he was very divisive. And the Republicans did not like him, and they did not like him with a passion. I'm not saying he was a terrible president, but he was divisive, to put it that way. And they called out, after they found out that Hillary was going to be the nominee, they were even more adamant that Hillary would not become president. So they called out and they said, "Who shall rid us of this beast?" And the people that showed up did not inspire confidence in them. They weren't terrible candidates, but none of them really had a chance to beat Hillary until someone showed up, and he was a carnival barker. He was a reality TV show host, and he showed up like only Donald Trump can. He said, "I am Donald Trump. I am the greatest of all time, and I, and only I, can beat Hillary." And the Republicans laughed at him. The Democrats laughed at him. The media laughed at him. But Trump is a lot smarter than people give him credit for. And he started talking to people that hadn't been talked to in a generation, probably since Reagan. And the people that he started talking to was the working class, especially the working classes in the flyover states, in the Midwest, in Ohio, in Wisconsin, and in Pennsylvania. And he talked about jobs, and he talked about their problems, and he said, "I hear you. I'm going to try to help you when I become president." He did things like go to the big three car companies and say, "If you keep on moving factories out of the United States, I'm going to put tariffs on your foreign-made car so high that you'll never be able to sell a car in the United States again." That speaks to those people. And in reality, it didn't really matter what he said. He was speaking to them. The Republicans were the party of business, and so they hadn't been speaking to them. The Democrats had long abandoned them. The Democrats had abandoned the working classes for identity politics. It was more important to them what color your skin was than what class you were, and still is. And Trump was able to tap into this and gain some support. Not huge support at first, but in a primary, if you have a reliable base, it really helps you, and it helped Trump. And Trump also has a second, almost innate ability to take a negative trait of someone's and coin it into a phrase. Who can forget Lying Ted, Low Energy Jeb, Little Marco? And what that does is that defines someone before they have a chance to define themselves. In politics, if you can define someone before they can, you win. Almost every time. And Trump has an innate ability to do that. And one by one, he knocked off the Republican contenders and gained a little bit of their support, some went other places. But as he kept on knocking them off, he got more and more support. Now, he never got over 30%, so he wasn't that popular. But eventually he won, which is an amazing feat for someone who had never run for political office before. Now, when he became the nominee, the Republicans panicked a little bit. They said, "Oh my God, what have we done? We've elected this reality TV show host who has many problems. He's got baggage and issues." But then they saw Hillary, and they got religion really quick. And you saw the Republican Party quickly coalesce around Trump and just pray that he could beat Hillary. They didn't have that much confidence, but the media really misread how not fractured the Republican Party is. A lot of his support was lukewarm outside his base, but it was still there. They weren't going to vote for Hillary. Now, when it was just Trump against Hillary, Hillary never took Trump seriously. Hillary was, and you can see it, she was just nonchalant. She campaigned, but not super hard. She campaigned in New York and California. She let the media pound and pound on Trump, which didn't have any effect. And the reason why it didn't have any effect was Trump was able to say, look at what the media does to me. They make fun of me. They put me down. It's the same thing they do to you in the flyover states. They make fun of you. They put you down. They call you idiots. They call you bumpkins. They do the same thing to me. And so he became a mud monster. Now, what a mud monster is in politics, a mud monster is a person that the more that you throw insults at him and accuse him of things, the stronger he gets. Bill Clinton was a Democratic example of a mud monster. The more the Republicans attacked him, the more the Democrats supported him. Same thing with Trump, and especially his base. His base will love him almost no matter what he does, and that's about 30% of the population. And Hillary kept on shooting herself in the foot over and over again. One of the worst statements in modern political history is the deplorable statement. She basically called 40% of the population deplorable. And the problem with this, in the last election, a lot of people were undecided going up to the election day. And when you call someone a deplorable, they're probably not going to vote for you. It's almost certain they're not going to vote for you. And it had another effect of, there are a lot of Democrats that have relatives and loved ones that vote Republican, and they might think that their loved ones and relatives are stupid because they vote for Trump, but they don't think they're deplorable. So when a politician comes out and calls their grandma deplorable, they don't like it, and they're less likely to vote for that candidate. Now, when I said before that Clinton was not running a good campaign, Trump was running a brilliant campaign. He saw the support that he was getting in Michigan and in Pennsylvania and Ohio, and he kept on visiting those places and driving home his message, I care for you. I care for you like no one else has. While Clinton was basically asleep at the wheel. And part of the reason why she was asleep at the wheel, to be fair, was polling numbers. They had her way ahead. With all her baggage, she was still way ahead. Now, Trump polls about 3 to 5% below what his support actually is. Part of the reason is that people don't admit that they like Trump. Even in a poll, they don't want to be scorned by their neighbors, scorned by relatives and other people. And so they will answer, well, I don't know who I'm going to vote for, or they'll answer, I'm going to vote for the Democrat when they have no plans to. They plan to vote for Trump. And that's true today. So when you see polls that have Biden 7 points ahead, he's probably 2 points ahead, maybe 3 or 4. If you see him 5 points ahead, it's probably a dead heat. Now, Hillary never saw that coming. And so Trump was able to win because he captured the working class vote. And he got enough other moderate people that just didn't like Hillary, because Hillary was a terrible candidate, that he was able to win a sizable victory, actually, a quite sizable victory. The Republicans won a lot of state houses. They won the House of Representatives. It was a horrible election for the Democrats. And I think this next presidential election is going to be a carbon copy of the last election. You have the same thing that happened with Bernie. Bernie got screwed again, and Bernie supporters have come out and loudly said they're not going to vote Biden. They don't like Biden. most of them are going to stay home, and a certain percentage of them are going to vote for Trump. The same thing's going to happen as happened last time. Trump still has his rabid supporters, and they are rabid, and they are loud, and they are going to vote for Trump. Now, the problem for Trump in this election is that he's such a jackass and such a jerk that a lot of people that voted for him last time are so disgusted by him that they won't vote for him again. They're just disgusted. But there's enough people like me who didn't vote for Trump last time and will this time, because I think he's been given a raw deal by the media. I think he's been a decent president. He's done things like prison reform, and he was good for the economy before the coronavirus hit, and you can't really blame Trump for the virus. I think he did a decent job getting things to different places. And I think Biden is a weekend at Bernie's candidate. He's being propped up, and he's an empty vessel. And I'm probably going to vote for Trump. And I think a lot of people think this way too. So I think Trump's going to win again. He's probably going to lose the popular vote again because of New York and California. And he might lose a few more states than he did last time. So it's going to be closer. But Trump's going to win a second term, and the Republicans are going to go insane. Or, excuse me, the Democrats are going to go insane. If you saw them go insane last time, they're going to go absolutely bonkers. Anyway, that's all. Remember, never believe in anybody's propaganda, not even your own. And if you like what you see, like and subscribe.